Teaching and learning in primary education. This study analyzed teaching and learning approaches taken by students and teachers in the last cycle of primary education, the impact of the center variables and the relationship between the incentive and strategies of students and the intention and strategies of teachers. A non-experimental quantitative survey research design was used with the approaches to teaching inventory, known as CEE in Spanish, and the learning approaches questionnaire for primary and secondary education, known as CEAPs in Spanish. The data was analyzed with the statistical package SPSS20. The results show that students prefer to adopt a high-performance approach followed by a deep approach, and teachers mostly use an approach centered on conceptual change in students. Learning approaches. Number 1. The superficial approach. SA. It is the closest to the situational factors of the students, and the results obtained are simpler than the other learning approaches. Number 2. The deep approaches, DA. It approaches the factors of the student's personality, obtain more complex learning results. It's based on the students interested in the subject or content taught by student. Number 3. The high performance or achievement approach. It is located in the situational factors, but when it is very close to the DA, an ideal approach arises to overcome the demands of the educational institution. In this approach, the student is more competitive and focuses on optimize academic results to excel, increase the ego and self-esteem. Teaching approaches. Number 1. Teacher-centered strategy with the intention of transmitting information to students. Approach B. The teacher-centered strategy aims at the student acquiring the concept of the discipline. Approach C. Teacher-student interaction strategy with the intention that students acquire the concepts. Approach D. Student-centered strategy that aim to promote their conceptual development. The protagonist begins to be the student who builds his own knowledge. Approach E. The protagonist is the student, and the teacher helps him to change his vision of the world or the conception of the phenomena that he studies. Methodology. Goals. The research objectives were 6. Number 1. Identify the learning approaches of primary education students. Number 2. Describe the learning approaches of students based on the course and garden. Number 3. Identify the teaching approaches of primary education teachers. Number 5. Analyze the congruence between the approaches, motivation, and strategies of primary education students. And number 6. Analyze the congruence between teacher approaches, intention, and strategies used by primary school teachers. The tables with the results obtained are shown below. Like conclusion, regarding the academic years, it is shown that the younger students, 5 years, have more consolidated or learning approaches. The deep approach is the one used more by 5 years students and by 6 years students. The latter are more competitive by using the high performance approach to a great extent, probably due to the desire to obtain the highest grade for the beginning of the compulsory secondary education stage.